Calaroga Shark Media.
Hello, I'm Johnny Mac with your daily comedy news. Ricky Gervais has become the co-owner of a distillery. He will now be helping to sell the products of Eller's Farm Distillery, starting with its Dutch Barn Orchard Vodka.
Hi, I'm Ricky Gervais, and I am thrilled to announce that I am now the proud co-owner of Eller's Farm Distillery, and we make Dutch Barn Vodka. It tastes great, it's made from British apples, we're committed to sustainability and the protection of the ecosystem, and the best bit is, this could literally make me hundreds of millions. So please buy it. Yeah. Sure, like all strong liquor, it may damage your liver and your well-being, but think how happy it'll make me if... So, and the saving the planet thing. Dutch Barn.
Ricky said, I'd been looking to invest in eco-friendly businesses for a while, and as soon as I found Dutch Barn, I wanted in. I love the planet, and I love a drink, so it was the perfect combination. On a serious note, Dutch Barn is a really quality product. I love the fact that it's done differently, and I can't wait to let everyone know about it. Chris Fraser, who founded the distillery, gave some wonderful PR quote. He said, "We're so excited to have Ricky join the team. With so many hollow celebrity cash-for-face brand endorsement deals out there, we're really pleased to have forged an authentic partnership with Ricky, involving both investment and creative leadership. Ricky will be an integral part of the business going forward and will help shape how Dutch Barn is seen around the world." Last year, Ricky spoke to the website Joe and said, "I have a glass of wine at 6 o'clock. I mean, I'm looking at the clock at 5 to 6. I just think I enjoyed doing it. I think if it started ruining your life or affecting your life, or you can't get up the next day, then it's probably not a good idea. In fact, it's probably not a good idea to drink. Full stop." Pick one. SNL's back tonight. Emma Stone joins the Five Timers Club, which I find absolutely fascinating because I was like, where do I even know Emma Stone from? And I Googled her. I'm sure she's wonderful. And I'm like, I still don't know who Emma Stone is, but she's up there with Tom Hanks and Steve Martin there. Congratulations. And Noah Kahan is your musical guest. Next week, Adam Driver. I know who that is. And Olivia Rodrigo. Oh, my daughter's going to be very excited about that. She doesn't know about that yet. I will tell her. And Lorne Michaels whipping it out for December 16th, the Christmas episode before the break. Kate McKinnon and Billie Eilish. Nice. You know, not that Adam Driver and Olivia Rodrigo is slacking. Good bookings there, Lorne Michaels. He's apparently good at the whole Saturday Night Live thing. Deadline caught up with Bert Kreischer, who says he has a scripted series and multiple films in the works, including Fat Astronauts with Tom Segura. I've talked about this before. He's into acting. He said, when I got home from Serbia, I assume from filming The Machine, he wasn't just randomly in Serbia. When I got home from Serbia, I will say that very candidly, I was like, I'm not an actor, but I think I want to be a movie star. I don't think I have a passion for acting. I think I have a passion for being the center of attention, but you've got to know your strengths and weaknesses. He hopes to get more ambitious with his production company, Birdie Boy Productions. He names Kevin Hart as a role model. If anything, I'm an idea guy and Tom Segura is an execution guy. And I'm a little bit of a sponge. I bring everything our way. Last week, I told him we need to start a betting app. One of the ideas is the Two Bears Racing team. That will see Tom Segura follow a passion he's been recently entertaining. Bert says, Tom is racing. We do have a race car. We're definitely going to be running the Gumball 3000 this year from Cairo to Singapore. That sounds like it would be a fun TV program. Bert says, comedy's hot. There's tons of theaters out there, tons of fans. None of us are slowing down. We're all going to continue with our podcast. We're all working on a new special. We've all got 5 projects in the fire waiting to happen. We're all really happy to be here. John Mulaney shared that although he didn't know Matthew Perry, he finds himself affected by Matthew Perry's death. Mulaney says, addiction is just a disaster. Life is a wobbly table at a restaurant, and you pile all the stuff on it, and it gets wobblier and more unstable. The drug just kicked the legs out from under the table. I really identified with his story. I'm thinking about him a lot. The motion picture sound editors announced award-winning actor, comedian, and author Patton Oswalt will host the 71st Annual Golden Reel Awards. 71, yeah? Apparently, the 71st Annual Golden Reel Awards takes place Sunday, March 3rd in L.A. Patton said, as a film buff, getting to highlight the hidden artisans who create movie memories as important as any moving image is a joy for me. I can't wait for this year's MPSE Golden Reel Awards. Sounds like a crafted quote. It's not how people speak. Inside spoke to Cheech Marin. He talked about how Cheech and Chong came about. I went to Canada in my early 20s as part of the draft resistance movement during the Vietnam War. I started doing comedy because they paid me more for doing comedy than delivering carpets, which is what I was doing in Vancouver before I met Tommy Chong. We were really just trying to get paid so we could make rent. We moved to LA and our early goal was, how are we going to find $1.50 every day? That was the amount of money we needed every day to buy a bag of rice or some beef and greens to make a Chinese meal. We went from club to club trying to look for a gig while carrying this little red wagon with us. Whenever we found pop bottles or soda cans, we'd throw them in the wagon to get the 5-cent deposit per can. By the time we finished our journey, sometimes we had $1.50 and we could go buy something to eat. That was our quest. If you want to see our motivation, that's motivation. I think what audiences loved about Cheech and Chong is that we represented what was going on in the times in a kind of benevolent way. We learned how to create this inoffensive, pointed humor. When creating our shows, we used what we called the omni-burger approach, where the show has just the right amount of meat, the right amount of tomatoes, a little bit of mustard, because you could serve it in an appetizing way in Atlanta one day and New York City the next. Sebastian Maniscalco making the rounds. The New York Times asked him some of the things he likes. Some of the things liked by Sebastian Maniscalco include Italy. They have lobsters in an aquarium where the kids can look, and they have big whole fish with the eyeballs. They have a little pasta station. I asked them, okay, pick out the pasta that you want Daddy to make you tonight. I feel like they have more of an appreciation of the food because they're invested in it. I also want to open up their palates to different sauces on the pasta other than butter and cheese. Some guys go golfing. I like cooking for people. It's a little nerve-wracking because something could go wrong and you've got 13 people over. The problem with me is I like to do it too much. I like people to be full before they even start eating the entree. Sebastian always likes surprise date nights. Sometimes you become ships passing in the night and you need that time together as a couple. So she picks a night and surprises me where we're going to go. And then the next week I'll pick a night and surprise her. I think it's very important to have those date nights in a marriage that let you reconnect. He's also a fan of Succession, saying it's more of a comedy for me because I find myself laughing at a lot of things they say, particularly Brian Cox, who was hysterical in this thing, and Kieran Culkin, the zingers that they throw out. I think I've got about 4 episodes left. Amy Poehler is going to be doing a masterclass. Let's listen.
Hi, I'm Amy Poehler, and I'm standing in front of a bunch of books, which means I'm smart and you have something to learn from me. Let's get started.
Amy tells The Hollywood Reporter, the principles of improv have made me more creative, more resilient, and more collaborative. My class is an attempt to show how preparing to be unprepared can add value in how we approach life and relate to other people. In Prepare to be Unprepared, Amy Poehler shares 9 principles of improv, including don't bail on your partners, don't worry about being cool. In my class, we're going to discuss how these improv principles affect your real life. It's for people working in relationship, parents, how do you deal with the kind of everyday humanness of life? Yahoo asked some comedians if stand-up still has a place in the age of YouTube and streaming. Angela Johnson Reyes said, heck yeah, I think it's growing. I mean, there's always been random rooms you can go in and do stand-up comedy at this cafe, car wash, whatever. Car wash? Awesome. But I think even more so in even more towns, comedy is growing. It used to be LA or New York. Like those were the spots if you want to do stand-up. Now Nashville has become a little hub for stand-up comedy. There's a thriving scene of stand-up comedians out there. She left out Austin. Fortune Feimster said, I think stand-up is bigger than it's ever been. It's so difficult to find availabilities at theaters every night. I just put out a ton of new dates on this tour. I've been touring this material for the last year, and we did the next leg of the tour, and I think things like TikTok and YouTube are getting people a lot of exposure. They're getting very popular from those mediums, and then they take that and they take it out on the road. The Express spoke with the creator of Father Ted and the It Crowd, Graham Linehan. He said there's been a chilling effect on comedy due to, quote, a sudden atmosphere of censoriousness. I like that word. Graham was recently canceled due to his views on transgender people. He was banned from Twitter and had his Edinburgh Fringe show scrapped by the venue. He talked about the successes of the shows he created and said, I think everybody's beginning to realize it was kind of the golden years for British comedy. I'm getting a bit nervous now that this kind of wealth of comedy that we might not see again for a while because of the sudden atmosphere of sense and what you might call a psychotic politeness. That means you're not allowed to make fun of anyone. I think there's definitely a chilling effect. And by the lack of good comedies in the last 5 years, there's very few strong ones. He said it would be impossible to make something like the young ones now. He said, these people take themselves so seriously. You simply wouldn't be allowed. You'd be entering in a lot of these third-rail issues that you're not allowed to talk about, the trans issue, race issues. You'd have to speak about those things. But I think now if someone came up with an idea with the same kind of anarchic quality, the same kind of desire to grapple with the reality of what it's like to be young in the UK at the moment, you wouldn't be allowed to do it. I mean, not allowed to do it. It wouldn't occur to you to do it because you just wouldn't be able to imagine getting it off. The Telegraph highlighted Father Ted's success as being down to its gentle nature humor. Have you ever seen Father Ted? Let me see if it's streaming anywhere. Father Ted follows 3 Irish priests, the old drunk priest, the young priest who really isn't sure he wants to be a priest, and then the main guy who's just trying to get things going. Let's see, there are 3 seasons on Roku, Crackle, Freevee. I highly recommend Father Ted. You would enjoy it. Graham said, we always felt if someone's doing one kind of thing, do the opposite and it will stand out. And that's what we always did. We just thought if every other character in sitcoms at the time were cynical and rude, and we had characters who would say feck instead of the bad word because they're so polite and they're so innocent. And there's something about that. And it just allowed us to stand out from everybody. Is that where feck comes from? My Irish friends use that word. So I don't know if that's a thing that then drifted into Father Ted. Maybe it went the other way. Anybody from Ireland out there? Let me know. Hit me up. My contact is in the show notes. Renowned German comedian Henning Wen, best known for his appearances on shows like 8 out of 10 Cats, went on Twitter to vent frustrations at the exorbitant cost of renting a simple 2-bed flat for the duration of Fringe in 2024. Wen said, "Yesterday I was flat hunting for the Edinburgh Fringe. Going rate for bog standard 2-bedroom flat for the month seems to be £9,000. Nick Coppin has spotted a camper van on someone's drive for $7,000 for the month. I think that's me done with the Fringe." Others took to the thread to say they too felt priced out of the festival. We heard a lot about this the last 2 years. One user said, "As a punter, I've booked a room at student halls in Holyrood, 9 nights at around £900. The whole comedy side of things could move to Manchester, Liverpool. It'd be a lot cheaper all around. Probably cheaper to get a flat in Inverness and rent a helicopter for the month." Susan Russell is the head of marketing for the Fringe Society and said, "We've spent hours, days, weeks, and months dedicated to this issue across our team, and we're continuing to do all we can in a challenging market of privately owned accommodation in a city struggling with a housing crisis. Plans proposed for the 2024 Fringe include an Olympic-style village by performers, as well as campsites set up around the city." That's your comedy news for today. Follow the show for free on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Overcast, Podcasts, wherever you get your shows. See you tomorrow.